Hi students, good morning. Today's our topic is microbes in the human welfare. In previous topics we discussed about the different kinds of microbes and the causes of the microbes. Some of them are useful, some of them are harmful for us. Different bacteria are there, different fungi are there, different viruses are there, different protozoa parasites are there. So these are showing some effect on the human being. Plasmodium parasite. The Plasmodium parasite causes some malaria in the human being. If studied in the human health and diseases. So Trichophyton rubrum involved in the skin diseases and pneumonia, Diptococcus pneumonia causes pneumonia disorder. Common cold virus, rhinovirus. Common cold is a rhino. It is caused by the rhinovirus. Now we are in the burning issue, that is coronavirus. The coronavirus causes lungs that show some infection in the lungs. Because of that, the people are dying. So like that, different pathogens, different microbes are there. These different microbes are involved in causing diseases, involved in the development of diseases in the human being and some animals also. But all the microbes are not harmful. Some of the microbes are also useful for our body. They help in our services. They help in welfare of the human being in daily needs or industrial way or different way. So let us see what are those microbes, how they helpful in the human services, how these microbes are involved in the human daily needs to provide the daily needs. So we are discussing about the different microbes in household products. Microbes in the household production means everyday life we need different kinds of food material. So these different kinds of food material we can get by the use of involvement of some microbes. So that is about the microbes in the household products. Microbes in the industrial products. The microbes which are used in the producing industrial chemicals. Some industries using some bacteria or some viruses, fungi, they develop some industrial products. So in that we are going to see some industrial products which are synthesized or which are prepared in the lab. So next, microbes in the sewage water treatment. We know in our daily needs we use different types. We use water. So the waste water, domestic sewage water is released into the water canal. Thereby these water bodies are damaged. To avoid this problem, to solve this problem, to prevent the spoilage of water, we need to clean that water by using some microbes, and then it is released into the canal. So that is called as the microbes in the sewage water treatment. So microbes in the biogas production of biogas. So how the microbes are usually producing biogas. So that we are going to learn here. Microbes in the biocontrol agents. Some of the chemicals are useful for our daily needs. How these biocontrol agents used in daily lives or in the life of a human being. Some of them are used for curing some disorders, some diseases also. So those are in this concept. So microbes in the biofertilizer. Some of the microbes are used as a biofertilizers. Instead of using chemical fertilizers, if we use these microbes, we get the sufficient amount of the fertilizer, and they provide the sufficient amount of the fertilizer. For example, we take blue-green algae, Nastat, Anabina, like that. So if we grow those bacteria, those blue-green algae in soil, we will get the nitrogen. Rhizobium leguminous are bacteria. This Rhizobium leguminous are bacteria fix the atmospheric nitrogen in the form of compound and provide the nitrogen to the legume plant. Such a way, different kinds of microbes are involved in the daily lives of the human being. So let us see now the microbes in the household products. Microbes in the household products. Our daily life, routine daily life start with breakfast. Breakfast. So the breakfast is made up of some dough prepared the previous day, and then that is fermented in the presence of some bacteria. Natural, some atmospheric bacteria is present. That atmospheric bacteria is ferment that dough, whatever it is prepared the previous day, and then that is useful. That is used for making some food material like idli, dosa, like that. So even bread also we can use in our daily life. Early morning in breakfast we can take some bread slices. So that is also prepared with some. That is also prepared with the involvement of some microbes. And also we know curd, yogurt. So curd and yogurt. So daily life. We use in our daily life we use curd. How the curd is prepared? You know that some of the bacteria ferment the material. Some of the bacteria is involved in the coagulation of the milk protein, and finally we get the curd. Such a way we can use curd. So then, what are the bacteria? What are the microbes are involved in the preparation of the curd? So let us see that. So how curd is prepared? How curd is prepared? You know, curd is prepared from the milk, warm milk. First, we boil the milk. We boil the milk. Boil the milk. That milk is added with some buttermilk or curd. Buttermilk or 2 spoons of curd is, for suppose we have taken half liter of milk. Half liter of milk. That half liter of milk is added with the curd or buttermilk. Buttermilk. This buttermilk contains lactobacillus bacteria. Lactobacillus bacteria. This lactobacillus rod-shaped bacteria are different types of bacteria are there. Lactobacillus lacti. Lactobacillus lacti. Lactobacillus acidophilus. Lactobacillus acidophilus. Streptococcus. Streptococcus. So these are the different kinds of bacteria involved in the preparation of the curd. These are called as LAB, lactobacillus bacteria. Lactobacillus bacteria. Lactic acid bacteria or lactic acid bacteria. These bacteria convert the milk sugar. What is the milk sugar? What is the milk sugar here? The milk sugar is a lactose. Milk sugar is a lactose. This lactose is converted as a lactic acid. Lactic acid. And then protein, milk proteins are present in the milk. These milk proteins are partially coagulated. Partially coagulated. Partially coagulated. And form a solid material at room temperature, that is 35 degrees centigrade to 40 degrees centigrade. At 35 degrees centigrade to 40 degrees centigrade, this boiled milk, whatever it is added with the buttermilk. The buttermilk contains this lactic acid bacteria. this lactic acid bacteria convert the milk sugar lactose as a lactic acid, and proteins in the milk partially coagulated at the 35 to 40 degrees centigrade, and then for 35 to 40 degrees centigrade, and then a solid material curd is prepared. A solid material curd is prepared. So by using this lactic acid bacteria, the quality of the curd is also increases by developing vitamin B12. Vitamin B12. This vitamin B12 cures some disorders in the body, intestinal disorders in the body, and this lactic acid bacteria is also cure some intestinal disorders. It lowers the blood cholesterol level. It lowers the blood cholesterol levels. Lowers the blood cholesterol levels. And solves or cures some intestinal disorders. And it cures some diarrhea. It cures diarrhea disorder. So like that, the curd, after the curd we can chill it and we get buttermilk. That buttermilk cures some disorders. It cures the disorder like it lowers the blood cholesterol level, cure the intestinal disorder, diarrhea. Cure such a way the curd is prepared in the diet. You know that every day your mother is preparing the curd in such a way. Along with lowers blood cholesterol, cure intestinal disorder, diarrhea, reduce the blood pressure in the body. It reduces the blood pressure, and it involved in the immune enhancement. It enhances the immunity in the body. Prevent the constipation. Promote bone density by absorbing calcium, magnesium from the stomach. And prevent the alcohol-induced liver damages. So these are the uses of this lactic acid bacteria. So it is used as a probiotic. So this is about the microbes in household product, especially curd preparation. In our daily life, our breakfast is, for example, idli, dosa. So how this idli and dosa dough is prepared? How the dough of idli dosa is prepared? So we take some grains, rice along with some black gram. We grind it and we make some dough. We make some flour, and then we keep that entire dough in vessel overnight, 6 to 10 hours, 6 to 8 or 6 to 10 hours we keep. In this time, overnight, some atmospheric bacteria is developed in the dough, whatever is prepared for the idli dosa. That bacteria is Leuconostoc, mesenteroid, Pediococcus cerevisiae. Leuconosta diphtheria, Pediococcus cerevisiae, and Streptococcus fecalis. Streptococcus fecalis. Streptococcus fecalis. These bacteria ferment the carbohydrate present in the dough. That carbohydrate is fermented and releases the carbon dioxide. The volume of the dough in the vessel is also increases and increase the taste of that particular dough. Thereby we get the taste thereby that provide the taste to the idli and the dosa. And also we use some fungi that is baker's yeast that is called as Saccharomyces cerevisiae. This Saccharomyces cerevisiae is a yeast. This is a yeast. This yeast is added to the wheat or some other flour. Wheat flour. The dough prepared with the wheat flour. Then this Saccharomyces cerevisiae, the carbohydrate present in the wheat dough is fermented. When we keep it to the oven, is fermented. We get some bakery, the cakes like that. Some bun we get using this Saccharomyces cerevisiae. That is used as a breakfast. And also one of the traditional drink we prepared in the South India. Toddy is a South India. It is a sap collected. This is a sap collected from the unopened ripened spadix of the unopened spadix. Unopened spadix is inflorescence of the pumpkin. So this from this sap, the sap whatever is collected from this palm tree spadix is fermented. Naturally, it is fermented in the plant in some vessel. Then it is used for drinking. It cures some disorder. It gives some relaxation to the people. So this is called as a daddy. And also one more drink is prepared, that is a temp kettle. This temp kettle is prepared fermented sap. It is a fermented sap of soya bean. So this is also used as a particular used as a drink. So these are all the material whatever we use in daily life is prepared by the involvement of some bacteria. So such a way we can use this bacteria. Let us see cheese. Next, cheese. This cheese is prepared from the different milks, different milk from the different animals, milk from different animals. So some of the bacteria naturally partially degraded the milk protein and milk sugar. Milk protein. Milk protein is a creatine. It is a milk protein. Milk protein is a casein. And milk sugar, lactose. Milk sugar, lactose. These two materials are partially degraded and prepared a solid material. A solid material is called as cheese. So there is a one famous cheese, Swiss cheese. The milk of the animal is coagulated or partially degraded with the bacteria Propionibacterium shermani. So this Propionibacterium shermani, when we use this, the milk of the animal get porous by releasing carbon dioxide by fermentation and partial degradation, and it gets some softy nature of the cheese. So that is called as a Swiss cheese. And one more cheese is prepared with some fungi. Roquefort cheese. This Roquefort cheese is prepared with the Penicillium Roquefort. Using this Penicillium Roquefort fungi, it is a fungi. Remember this one. It is a fungi. It is a bacteria. This is a bacteria. So fungi, we can get the Roquefort cheese. Such a way, cheese is prepared in the dairy. It is used as a food material. That is available in that we get in the dairy shops also. So that is prepared with these different kinds of bacteria and fungi. So by using the different types of animal milk, we can prepare the different flavors, different tastes of the cheese in shop, in a dairy industry. Such a way, cheese is prepared. Next concept is microbes in the industrial products. Some of the microbes are synthesized or prepared in the laboratories, in industries. Many valuable industrial products are synthesized with the presence of some microbes, those helpful for the human being. Let us see what are those. Alcoholic beverages, some alcoholic products. So wine, whiskey, brandy, rum. So these are all the alcoholic beverages. These alcoholic beverages are used in some industries also, some medicines also. So such a way, these alcoholic beverages are synthesized in the laboratory by using some fungi like Saccharomyces cerevisiae, yeast. And then non-alcoholic beverages, tea, coffee. This tea and coffee powder. Tea is prepared from the leaf and coffee is prepared from the seeds, fermented seeds of the coffee with the help of some microbes. The tea leaves also fermented with some microbes, and finally we get some flavor and taste to the tea and coffee. Such a way, non-alcoholic beverages and alcoholic beverages are synthesized or are prepared in the industries. So the organic acid, like the lactic acid, citric acid, glutamic acid, synthesized in the laboratories, in fermenters, in large bioreactors, in the tanks, in large tanks with the help of microbes. These are synthesized in the laboratory. Not only these organic acids, some enzymes, hormones, antibiotics, vitamins are synthesized or developed in the laboratory in bioreactors. However, alcoholic beverages are synthesized in the lab. Especially the fruit juices and vegetable juices are get fermented with the help of fungi. Saccharomyces cerevisiae. So Saccharomyces cerevisiae is ferment some fruit and vegetable juices. Fruit and vegetable juices are fermented, and finally we get alcoholic beverages. Fruit and vegetable juices are get fermented with the Saccharomyces cerevisiae, and then we get the alcoholic beverages. How this? You know that in the first year you studied the respiration in the plant, anaerobic respiration. So here the glucose is converted as a pyruvic acid. Glucose is converted as a pyruvic acid in glycolysis, and this pyruvic acid is converted as a acetaldehyde. This converted as a by removal of carbon dioxide. The pyruvic acid is converted as a acetaldehyde. This acetaldehyde is converted as a alcohol. This acetaldehyde is converted as a alcohol by taking hydrogen 2H plus from the NADH2 by taking NADH2. This NADH2 is synthesized in the glycolysis. You know that in glycolysis NADH2 is synthesized. From that 2H plus is taken and finally converted as a alcohol. Then the leftover NAD is involved in the synthesis of NADH2 as usual in the glycolysis mechanism. So in these steps, the glucose, whatever the sugar or carbohydrate present in the fruit and vegetable juices, is get fermented, and finally the alcohol is synthesized in the laboratories. So this alcoholic fermenters, this alcohol is prepared or synthesized in the big tanker. Those are called as the alcoholic fermenters. Alcoholic fermenters. In alcoholic fermenters used for preparation of the alcohol. Presence of particular enzyme C6H12 is a carbohydrate. Presence of Zymase enzyme. This is converted as a C2H5OH plus carbon dioxide. So presence of Zymase already we studied in first year. So when we add this Saccharomyces cerevisiae to the sugar juice, we get alcohol plus carbon dioxide. So based on the different fruit juices and the vegetable juices, we can extract the different kinds of alcoholic beverages. So let us see what are those different alcoholic beverages extracted from the different vegetable and fruit juices. These alcoholic beverages are two Distilled and distilled alcoholic beverages. Undistilled alcoholic beverages. Distilled alcoholic beverages. Distilled alcoholic beverages. So let us see what are those alcoholic and non-alcoholic. Using the different raw material and type of fermentation, and then we get two different types of alcoholic beverages. These are called as undistilled alcoholic beverages, distilled alcoholic beverages. This undistilled alcoholic beverages are simple fermented 3 to 24% of the alcohol containing materials. These alcoholic beverages are four different types of them. Cider. It is made up of apple juice. The raw material of the cider is apple juice and green juice. So this has 3 to 6% of the alcohol. 3 to 6% of the alcohol. Wheat is a fermented barley juice. Fermented barley juice. It has 4 to 5% of the alcohol. Red wine. It is a fermented grape juice. With the yeast. Finally, we get 7 to 13% of the alcohol in the red wine. Champagne. It is a grape juice. It is a fermented grape juice also. It has 8 to 10% of the alcohol in this undistilled alcoholic beverages. So, distilled alcoholic beverages are gin. So, it is extracted from the barley juice. The barley juice is fermented and finally get the gin. It has a 40 to 45%. So here the distilled beverages have 40 to 55% of the alcohol. It has a 40 to 45%. Brandy, it is extracted from the juices of mixture of the fruit juices like apple, peach and cherry juice. When these three juices are fermented, we get a 40 to 45% containing alcohol, that is a brandy. Whiskey, barley, rye, maize, potato juices. Barley, rye, maize, potato juices are fermented and finally we get 40 to 50% of the whiskey. Alcohol containing whiskey. Rum, sugar molasses, from the molasses of the sugar industry. If it is fermented, we get 40 to 55% of the alcohol. Vodka, it is a fermented juice of the rye, so it has a 40 to 55% of the alcohol. And say rice, it is extracted from the juice of the rice. We get 40 to 55% of the alcohol. Such a way, two different alcoholic beverages are there based on the raw material and based on the microbe used in the fermentation. Thereby we can differentiate it as undistilled alcoholic beverages and distilled alcoholic beverages. And next, non-alcoholic beverages. Non-alcoholic beverages. In non-alcoholic beverages, these non-alcoholic beverages are prepared with the fermented tea, tobacco, coffee. So, tea, coffee, tobacco. So these tea leaves tea leaves, coffee seed and tobacco leaves are get fermented with the different bacteria, and then the tea powder, coffee powder and tobacco, some products are extracted from these leaves and seeds of the beans of the coffee. So because of this fermentation, they get some flavor and taste to this material. Such a non-alcoholic beverages are synthesized by using some microbes. So next, antibiotic. So anti means against. Anti means against. Biotic means bio. Biotic means microbes, for example. Some organisms. Bio means some organisms or some organisms. So some organism working against some microbes which cause diseases in the human being. So that is the antibiotic. This word is derived from the Greek language. Actually, the achievement of discovery of the discovery of antibiotics by using microbes by the scientist is great. It is greatly contributed to the human population. It involved solving different diseases in human population. Salman Waxman coined the term. Antibiotic. The first antibiotic was discovered by Alexander Fleming in 1928. That is penicillin. This penicillin is extracted from the Penicillium notatum, a fungi, Penicillium notatum. This invention of the penicillin by the Alexander Fleming, by chance it is invented. He is growing some Streptococcus bacteria. He is growing Streptococcus bacteria in some culture media. He is growing Streptococcus bacteria which cause diseases in the human being, which cause throat disease in the human being. This Streptococcus bacteria while growing in culture medium, some of the areas of the culture medium, the bacteria is not growing. That particular area of the culture medium, this bacteria is not growing rapidly. That is because there is a fungi is inhibit the growth of this bacteria, and suddenly identified by this Alexander Fleming and named as a penicillin. Then it is observed under the microscope and finally confirmed that it is the penicillin is used for killing some bacteria and inhibit the growth of bacteria and kill the bacteria. Then we can use this as an antibiotic. This is extracted from a fungi penicillin notatum. Penicillin notatum. So this penicillin is used in the Second World War rapidly. It is used in the Second World War. Second World War rapidly. In Second World War it is used rapidly. And Ernest Chain and Fleury. Ernest Chain and Fleury explained the full-fledged effect of the penicillin. Full-fledged effect of the penicillin. Because of that, they got Nobel Prize. They got Nobel Prize for the discovery of the penicillin. For the discovery of penicillin in 1945. In 1945, this Alexander Fleming and Ernest Chain and Fleury got Nobel Prize. So the full-fledged effect of the penicillin was explained in 1938, and they got Nobel Prize in 1945. Actually, Alexander Fleming identified the penicillin by chance in 1928 while culturing the Streptococcus bacteria which cause throat infection in the human beings. Such a way the antibiotics work against the microbes. One microbe or one organism kill the other pathogenic organism or harmful microbe and inhibit or kill the other pathogenic organism. This is called as antibiotic. These antibiotics are extracted from the different kinds of fungi and bacteria. So in coming class we can discuss what are the different types of antibiotics, and we see in next coming class. Okay, thank you.